Morphy's Games at Chess continues with game number 45, the Morphy-Horvitz match held in September of 1858. All right, Horvitz has the white pieces and he plays d4 again. Morphy answers with the Dutch defense, f5. He had success in game 3, folks. All right, so he's going to try it again. Why not? All right, Horvitz, c4. E6 by Morphy. Standard procedure. Here we go. The queen knight comes out. Morphy's king knight comes out. And now we got the same moves as in game 3 of the match. Horvitz pinning the knight. And look at Shredder. This is what Morphy did in game 3. But here he goes. Bishop to e7. Okay, here we go. Even in the notes it says here. In the third game, he played bishop to b4. The text move is better. So this is even better for black. Okay. Horvitz plays e3. Morphy castles. Here comes the bishop. This is why, you play e3 to get your bishop out. See, folks? The dark square bishop's out, right? All right, you can lock it up now. Close the fence, right? Close the gate. And then after Morphy castles, there you go. Now this soldier comes into the battlefield, right? D3, good post. Aggressive post, aiming down. I mean, it's hitting the F5 pawn right now, but it's aiming at that black king. Okay, so now we got Morphy. Look at this. Now here's a good little tip. All right, as you're developing your opening, right? You're bringing your men out. You're moving your pawns, right? Let's look at this closely. The Dutch defense, folks. Now, you got the light square bishop, okay? Where's he going to develop? Okay, because he's on the light squares, and you got the pawn chain. See it, folks? Your black pawn chain. All on light squares. So that bishop on c8, he's no good on this diagonal. Totally blunted, right? Stunted, blunted, whatever the word is, right? He has no scope. So, look, Morphy plays b6, right? Why do you think he's doing that? Right? I'll leave it to you. Right? Why do you think he's doing that, folks? Okay? All right, here we go. So now we got b6, right? b6. What move is that? Move 6, we got b6. Okay. So now, all right, here comes Horvitz, bringing the king knight out. Right? Now get this. Here's a little side note also. In developing, look, if you bring this guy out, you play the pawn, Morphy castles. Now, if you bring this guy out, you're blocking your king bishop, which wants to be on d3, right? And there's another reason why the bishop doesn't go to e2, because the knight wants to be on e2. You see, these are like, before you make the move, you got to say, where are my men going to go? How are they going to coordinate? This is really, you might not be booked up in openings, but if you use these basic principles, you get halfway. You know what I'm saying? You don't get into trouble because you're planning ahead. You got to coordinate your pieces. He brings him out first to where he wants to go. All right, Morphy then playing b6. We know what that's going to be about, right? And then Horvitz brings the knight now, okay? Yeah, what if he plays it there? Well, maybe he doesn't want to play it there, but he has an option, right? He has the option now. Okay? But that's basically, he wanted to play the bishop out first to get him on d3, his post. Then you post up the knight on e2, see? And now he's ready to castle. Okay, so anyway, these are little tips, and it's just trying to help out as best I can, try to explain it. But anyway, now where do you think Morphy puts his bishop? Right there. There you go. b7. Okay, that's why b6 was played. And look at the scope. After now, let's just make a move. He's aiming down. Look at this. Look at this diagonal, folks, right? Where's it better? Over here where it can't move, or over here? Look at this guy. Dynamic, folks. Look at the options. Look at the control. He controls the long diagonal cuttings right through the center of the board. Look at all these squares, right? Right now he's actually threatening possibly to take this pawn, right? All right, but anyway, okay. You got Horvitz castling, right? And now Morphy playing the knight to h5. Here's the note, folks, the footnote by the old masters. Freeing his position. And as Morphy points out, showing the disadvantage of white's bishop to g5 on move 4 against the Dutch defense. All right? Pretty bold statement. Does that agree with opening theory, modern opening theory now? I don't even know, folks. But it's an idea that you can try. If you're using the Dutch, go ahead. You know, you see how it works. Here you go. You get the trade of bishops. Morphy takes back. All right? And here you go. Harvard's bringing his knight to g3, and Morphy chops him off. He chops him off. All right, Harvard takes back with the rook pawn. Okay? And now you got Morphy with d6. Okay? And now Harvard plays f4, question mark. Question mark. All right? What happens in this game, we're going to touch on it a little more as we go. This guy, folks, the E3 pawn now. Morphy plays knight to c6, which is funny because with this pawn move, d6, I thought he would naturally bring the knight. He would bring the knight here, right? And just let's make some wasted moves just to show you. And then bring it here, and then plan to bring it right in there and cement them in, folks. I mean, look at that post for the knight. It's an outpost. After f4, it's an outpost. No pawns could boot that knight off of that square. See how powerful that is? That guy cemented in, controlling key squares around the black king, right? f2. He's controlling h2, f2, right? Looks pretty dangerous for the white king. Okay? You bring the queen up to f6, slide her over to h6. You're coming down with me, right? But, okay. We've made a lot of silly moves over here. A3, A4, doing nothing for the white position, right? So, okay. But that's the idea. You're right. I thought he would, after playing d6, I thought he would bring the knight to d7, right? So anyway, okay. Now he brings it. Morphy ends up playing it to c6. All right. Now Harvard's f4 not only creates an outpost on g4, but he weakens this guy, folks. He weakens this guy. He's got no pawns now that can protect him, right? So anyway, we're going to see how that comes into play, all right? For instance, just to show you, if this pawn's back there, the f-pawn protects, right? He protects the e3 pawn, and he can possibly play f3 to take away that g4 square. But now, right, now he can't. All right, so they gave him a question mark. All right, again, here comes Morphy with knight c6. All right, and now we got this move, g4, pushing the pawn up, and Morphy goes after the, hitting the bishop over here. He goes knight to b4. All right, but here, this is amazing. Now Harvard takes. He takes on f5. All right, now why am I all excited or stressing this move? Here's the note by the old masters. Here it is. Emphasizing the weakness of his king pawn. They're saying bishop back. You don't let the knight take this guy out. You bring him back, which may seem like you're losing time, retreating, right? But then it says followed by pawn to a3. Just for instance, just do something like this. Look, pawn to a3, folks. You boot the knight, so now black loses time. Now black loses time moving the knight. So white doesn't lose time retreating the bishop for now. He's going to boot the knight out of there. What's the knight going to do now? What's he going to get involved with over here? Nothing. He's got to retreat. So it's a waste of time for black. and it serves no purpose. This move right here, if he doesn't chop the bishop off, it serves no purpose in this game at this point. Okay, so they're saying that, Harvard should have moved it right away, and then after any move by black, you boot him out of there, and he wastes time. Okay, so, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do it. He takes over here. Okay, and what are we talking about? It emphasizes the weakness of his king pawn. Well, Morphy takes back with his pawn, right? The rook on f8 protects it from this guy. He can't take here, right? And now, look at the e pawn on e3, folks. It's a backwards pawn. It's doomed. It's like, well, not doomed, but all hell's gonna rain down on it. I mean, just right now, you put your rook. It's a simple plan. You're giving black a simple plan to follow. Gang up on the backward pawn. Backward pawn, no pawns on the F file or D file that could protect it. And it's on an open file for black. He's just going to aim with the big guns, folks. The queen, the rook, the rooks. I mean, you got the bishop, the pawn, and the queen protecting the square in front of it, because white would want to advance that guy and get rid of him. Try to trade him off, but right now he can't. I mean, heck, you do this. You take, right? Put the engine on. I don't want to mislead you. Look. You put it on, now you control it. Like, who cares? If he wants to take, even if he did take. All right, now look, folks, we got a pass pawn, right? He's going to have to, now the whole game. What do you think this is about, folks? Look, you're going to play this one up. He could try to gang up on it, but you got the defense, right? You could play this, so you just go ahead and play. You back it up with the pawns. If they trade, who cares? You got a protected pass pawn now. Protected pass pawn. You see how the advantages build? That's an end game bonus right there. It's an ace up the sleeve. All right, so you're in the driver's seat. Look at the engine over here. Look, down at the bottom. Negative 2.13. Right, you're up 2. You're up 2. That's a substantial lead. Good enough for a win. You just need the technique to carry it out, right? But there you go. Like, so right now, white can advance. That's what he would like to do and get rid of that weakness. If they just trade, if these two pawns trade, and if, white comes out, okay, then he's good. He got rid of his weakness. But as you can see, it's not, it's not defended well enough. He loses the piece, right? So he can't push yet. He can't push. He'd have to try to, build up. It's controlling this square now. The whole game says who can control that square. If black can, he's going to gang up on that pawn and hopefully win it. And if white can gain control of e4, he'll advance the pawn, trade it off, and get rid of this problem. And there you go. And the whole game revolves around a silly little pawn like that. Isn't that something? That could mean the difference of the game, folks. Can you believe this? Right? Amazing stuff. It's a science. It's an art. It's everything rolled into one, right? Okay, so here we go. He trades, but this all because he trades. He allows black to capture with his e-pawn and now clear a semi-open file. An avenue of attack to that e-pawn. All right. I know I'm going on. All right. Let's get going. I mean, I know you guys who are advanced are like, this guy keeps pointing out the obvious, but folks, this is for the beginners. You understand? And the strength in the intermediate, you start to understand this game. That's the whole point of this. All right. If Kasparov is listening, all right. I'm sorry, Kasparov. Right? Like you're listening to me. All right. Here we go. So anyway, now we got. The queen comes up because the pawn's hanging already, right? Well, what do you think, Morphy? There you go. The engine knows. Morphy bringing the queen rook to attack. Bear down on that pawn. All right, here we go. Harvitz brings his queen rook to protect. And now we got Morphy with queen to h4. All right? But it says here good. It's a good move, but maybe this was even better. You take that knight out while you can. And then you come up here. But I don't know, folks. I don't know. It just says good. Morphy's move was good, but taking the bishop and then moving the queen over was perhaps better still. That's what they write. You know, either or. Right? You move the knight to get that bishop, folks, so you might as well get it now. It only makes sense. Okay, but what does he do? He does this first, right? Okay. So now he brings the queen up, and now you got the bishop going back. Okay, Harvitz does it a little late, but still, same idea now. A3 is going to come. Here you got a rook lift, folks. A rook lift. Where do you think he's going with that guy? I don't know. That white king's looking a little shaky now. Okay, so we got the queen. Let's get these queens off the board, Harvitz says, right? Morphy's starting to build over there. It's, you know, you get the queens off, you take a lot of power off the board. The white king won't be in such trouble, right? But, you know, Morphy's having none of it. There you go, just like the engine. He moves it back. And here you got, look at this. Maybe Harvitz wants to come here and trade him off, but don't forget that guy. Right? He's hiding in the tall grass over there. Don't forget those sneaky bishops between the diagonals, right? He'll snipe you. He'll get you. So what does Harvitz do? Look at this. He placed a pawn up. He blocks that diagonal for that. That bishop is really strong. So you could understand that move. Plus, he's hitting the rook. But the rook's going to move, look, over to the attack on the king side over here anyway. That's what the rook lift is about. So he backs up the queen. He's threatening mate in one move, folks, right? You like queen at H1, maybe H2 looks better to you. Either way, it's mate, right? All right, so here you go. Here you go. Now with the D pawn on D5, he's got the queen to F3, attempting to swap them off. You know, put a damper on your own attack. Why don't you, right? Plus, now he makes an escape square, right? He makes an escape square for the white king by moving the queen. Okay, so now, of course, Morphy shuffling back and forth. He doesn't want to trade queens. Okay, now you got this what's going on over here. The thing's action on both sides of the board, right, folks? Now you got the A3 pawn coming in, and Morphy brings the knight to the only square, right? It can only go here. Where else is it going to go? Can't go anywhere. Look, can't go here, there, right? Can't go there anymore. That another thing about the D5 pawn, right? For white. All right, so he has to retreat to A6, okay? And now you got Harvitz expanding on the queen side. Here we got a note, another footnote. White improved his game considerably by his 17th through 20th moves. The same, however, cannot be said of the last two moves. Pawn to A3 helped the hostile knight on his long journey to G4. Okay, we're gonna see him go like in this move. Let's see. Wait, what did it say here? I love the way they write this stuff. Real poetic, you know. Here it is. It says, pawn to A3. I'll reread it. Help the hostile knight on his long journey to G4, whence he cannot be dislodged. Right? He's going to go here. He's going to go there. He's going to jump. He's going to jump. He's going to jump. But folks, remember what we were talking about? Okay. He came here first, then he went there, then he goes here, then he goes there, then he's going to go here, and then he wants to go there. I mean, really, folks, it's like around the world, right? Why didn't he just go here first, go here, and jump there? So, I mean, I don't know. The old masters is saying that this and then this is like a waste of time, right? It says, pawn to B4. Oh, okay, pawn to B4, not a waste of time, but it says, leaves his C4 pawn weak, as in the third game. Folks, this guy, I can't point it out right now. I got to make the moves. But it says, but the latter weakness need not have become pronounced in the present game. Remember, let's go to the next move here. We got, all right, Morphy moving the knight down on its long journey over to G4, right? Okay, the point is this guy, folks, this guy, He's now weak because why, folks? There's no pawn on the B file at the E file. You see this guy now. It's not an open file. The black C pawn is on C7, so you can't aim at it with the rooks and pile up with the big guns, right? But this guy is stuck because black right now controls C5 with these two pawns, the D6 and B6 pawn. So he can't advance. He'd lose a pawn at the moment right now, right? He'd lose one. But, I mean, what ends up happening is saying this guy becomes weak, like in the other game. We saw how Morphy picked at that C pawn, that actual same square. It was on C4, and he chiseled away at it, right? So you're going to see it happen in this game, too. It's weak, but it need not be. It's just the way Harvard's played this game that it wasn't really a strategic weakness. It shouldn't have been, according to their opinion. So anyway, the knight came to B8, right? So now, here comes Morphy, right? Let's see. Well, no, the knight came to B8. This guy comes over. The knight moves to E2. He's getting over there to help in the defense, I guess. All right, here comes Morphy's knight. Right, here comes the white knight. Okay, now we got there, folks. You got to pay attention to your pawns. Okay, he's attacking F5. You see it, folks? He's threatening a fork too. The white knight's threatening a fork, a rook and queen. Knight takes F5, right? So that would win the exchange. And he's threatening this guy. All right, simple enough. Simple enough. G6. Try to seize it. G6. All right, the king's getting out of dodge. He doesn't like what's coming. All right, here we go now, right? Here we go. Knight coming up. Knight to F6. Here it comes, right? Harvard moves the king so he could slide his rooks that are linked up on the back rank. Common theme, right? Here you go. Trying to get rid of that queen. Oh, my God, the queen's trapped. Where does it go, right, folks? But you see, you got the in-between check, right, folks? In-between check. Knight to G4. Well, there it is, folks. He's in the outpost, right? Cemented in. Beautiful knight now. That knight's as strong as a rook, all right? When a knight can post up on an outpost in enemy territory around that enemy king, right? That's it. That's worth a rook, maybe more. Who knows? All right. So anyway, all right. The engine sees it. King back, and that's what Harvard's did. But there is an interesting question to ask, right? What if the king goes here? Okay. Sure enough, you get into some interesting lines with the queen pulling back, threatening down. Look at this diagonal. Talking about diagonals, right? The queen could take advantage of this one. Look at this. Coming down, threatening this pawn, right, with a check, winning the pawn. So it moves to F6. The engine, this is the engine now, folks, the engine. This didn't happen in the game. Now, you get the in-between move. You could capture back, but get this in first, right? Because he can't, it's not like he could block and with the rook on D2 and threaten your queen, all right, or anything. So you'll have time after he moves. Now you can take back your rook. Okay, you got time to do that. Because if you do this, folks, look. If you take back first, well, now he could arrange, now he could. It still looks pretty good for black, but okay, he gets this in. Is that much of a difference? I don't really know. We could fight it out. But I mean, remember what we said, folks? What was the idea of white? The E3 pawn, trade it off. You got to be able to control E4. Does he have control of E4, folks? He's got the bishop on B1. He's got the knight on G3. He's got the queen on F3. Looks good to me, folks, right? Black only has the F5 pawn covering that square. Trade them off. You see? You see? Now, whatever this leads to, we don't even know. Black may get something out of it tactically, right? But strategically, white's getting what he wants. He's getting to get rid of that strategic weakness, the E3 pawn, backward pawn. Okay? All right, he goes there. We can't take here. You got to remember, the queen's way over here defending it. Okay, don't mess up to one of those bloopers. All right, you get the knight back. That's where it wants to be. Cement him in on the outpost. Makes sense, right? And now, oh, now he's now he's threatening this, folks. Oh, goodbye. Game over, right? Forking the white queen and the king. There you go. Game over, okay? So you can understand that move. All right, so now the king, he goes over. He goes over. All right, does this lead anywhere? You give a check. All right, he doesn't want, he's got two moves, folks, right? He doesn't want to go here. He can't block with the rook. You got the knight, you win the exchange. Knight takes rook. He can't block here. Queen takes check. Right, it's all over then. Whew, that would be terrible. If you, you know, where can you go? You don't want to go back because the knight fork still works. Only square, right? Does the check do? You got e4 is covered. E4 is covered by. You can't take here because it's a blunder, right? That's no good. So okay, let's go with the engine. Attack the rook, right? The rook's undefended, right? Okay, he moves here. Does that make sense? That makes sense, I guess. You attack the rook now. Oh, okay. What if, can he go here? Can he go there? No. Why can't he go there, folks? Can you see it? Can you see why? Why can't the rook attack the queen now? Because the knight, folks. You take. Wham. How do you like that one, huh? You win a rook for nothing, folks. See that? Okay, he takes a pawn here. He'll win a pawn, right? Or maybe not. Let's see. Let's see. You could probably tell if it doesn't matter. I was just going to say it as a joke, right? So, you win a rook. All right. Isn't that beautiful? You see the dynamics, folks, when you got a knight posted. We've seen it in other Morphy games, a couple of other ones. Beautiful stuff, right? The dangers of a knight on an outpost near the king, right? All right, so, all right, he goes here. He goes there for now. Now, with the knight coming here, he's attacking. Now, if he comes up attacking your queen, you can see you got the check, threatening the bishop, right? You're threatening the bishop. And if he goes up, you get this tempo in here. Go back to your safety zone, right? Your outpost. Wow, it's going to lead to mate. He'll have to. I was going to say your knight's safe, and now you can grab the bishop on b1. But what am I talking about? He moves up in the game. Oh no, you can't go right here because the knight takes you, right? All right. So you go here, so you can slip in. You could slip right in the cover of darkness, right? You're slipping right in. You can't do it now because now the knight's undefended. He'll take, right? So you take here. He's just buying time, folks. All right, now he's going to do this one. So he's going to, I guess he's going to worm his way out, but his game is over anyway. His goose is cooked, right? His goose is cooked. Look at this. Where's he going to go? Why not h3? He's going to let the queen right in, no? Can't he just come here? All right, he wants to take the guy. All right, it doesn't matter, folks, at this stage. Did I prove my point? He's busted, right? All right. I didn't see it right away, but it's there, right? You got to admit, it's there. After this, forget about it. Look, he has to sack the queen to try to stay alive. But even then, I don't think it works, right? It's all over, okay? All over. So, where are we going at this point, right? He comes down, attacks the rook. The rook moves. The knight jumps in. All right, where does he go? The g1, right? Does this look right to you, folks? I mean, he's crunched up. All right, let's just go with this move. Right, he takes there. Oh, you get, look at this, folks. You get attacking the white queen. All right, he comes over here. What do you think? You take? I guess you take. He goes there. Look at this, folks. Look, he jumped. Oops, sorry, folks. Look, he jumps right in. Why can't he take there? Well, you figure it out, folks. Look at this. Look at this, folks. Did you see this one? Oh, come on. Come on, folks. You got to admit, right? The rook had to retreat to G1. Look at this, folks. I'm falling off my seat. The game of chess. Beautiful Morphy, right? I mean, this isn't his game, but this is the positions you want. You're playing the Morphy style. Come on. Knight's leaping to the impossible, right? Doing the impossible. Knight to E5. All right, I don't even know at this point. Where does it go at this point, right? It looks like black's up. You know, maybe white hangs on for a while, you know. You got to chisel away at him. I mean, now you're threatening, look, knight takes. Now look at that the F4 pawn. All right, he gets a check in. I don't know. Does he start to get a counterattack? Look at this. Who knows? The game of chess, right, folks? Oh, he goes over here. He's going to threaten his mate, right? All right, he comes up. All right, you trade him off, right? You trade him off. All right, and at this stage, folks, it's, you know, believe it or not, look at that engine. All right, he's got almost a pawn advantage. I mean, let's see, he's up a pawn. I'm looking at the evaluation, you know, because sometimes even if you're up a pawn, the other side has better piece, you know, better piece coordination or scope, you know. But there you go. Black's up a little bit here. All right, he comes back. You know, I don't know. You know, this is going into the end game now. This could be a grind. I don't know. Maybe it's a draw. Who knows? White may be able to hang in there. But anyway, who had all the fun this game, folks? You got to admit it. Who had all the opportunities, the fun, right? And you're playing as black, folks. You're supposed to have the disadvantage. You're not supposed to have the advantage as black. That's white's bag. All right, so anyway, let's go back. We could go on forever. Who knows? So many ways, even at this point. We don't let the engine run that much, you know, so there could be better for both sides. But, all right, that was pretty interesting. Pretty stuff, right? The queen, the idea is the queen could come down and penetrate, right? So that's the idea. So let's see. On this check, this all led from this. What if, folks, if the queen, if Harvard's moved his king to E2, but he doesn't. He moves it to G1. All right, maybe he felt safer over there. Now, Morphy's under the gun, the queen, don't forget. All right, so you move to F6 anyway. All right, so at this point, Harvard takes the rook, and Morphy just takes back. But Schroeder has an interesting line. I got to show it to you. Queen down, penetrating. All right, attacking the other rook. Right, threatening queen takes rook with check. Okay, and he's also attacking the A3 pawn. All right, so queen back to protect the rook. Now, black has to take one of them, right? He's down a rook. He's got to recapture. All right, so the knight takes, but that gives white time to conveniently play queen to C1, and it protects everything's good. Everything's good in the white camp. If you trade, like Schroeder says, you jump the knight in, you're attacking the E3 pawn, right? And I don't think he doesn't have, he's got E4 covered like we have been talking, right? Oh, you could play E4. Yeah, but folks, you can. But then let's say you you drop the F4 pawn. So he can't play it yet. He can't play E4 yet. He's got to protect the knight to G4 by black is attacking E3. Can't bring the king up. That's illegal, right? The knight covers F2. So you can either bring the knight back. It's saying to bring the rook here. Maybe you bring it here. I don't even know. It's a whole different game, right? It doesn't, the evaluation at this point doesn't give anybody a clear edge. So, I mean, you know, white has that weak E3 pawn on this open, semi-open file. You know, can he hold it? Look, defends, right? Two are attacking, two are defending. Can it build up into anything, folks? I don't know. Could be a nice outpost, right? All right, now the king could come up. That would force an exchange for sure, right? You fork, but he's got the bishop to trade. So, you know, folks, it's a game, right? It's a whole other battle. I'd want to take black because white's the one with that e3 weakness. You notice how he's on the defense, right? Maybe black could build this up. You need the technique, you know, endgame technique. Maybe you could slowly get the better king position. And one thing I want to point out is, what if the rook came here to defend, right? Shredder chose this to protect from the side. If he came here, right? Now, Shredder likes this, but let's say we attack it. We attack it again. Now he can play it. He can play it up. Now the pawn is pinned. He can't take on F5, right? Because then he drops the rook, and that's what I was gonna try to build off of. But that rook is hanging, so whatever piece, right? All right, now he protects it with the knight, so he's allowed to capture. E takes F5 now. So it's like you're trying to use the strategic, you know, plan, and you're using the tactics to carry it out. But he's got 3 on it, so he gets to do it. He gets to do it. The whole concept was the pawn is pinned right now. Maybe he could do something. Just waste a move, right? One move, right? You do this, you take. Now the knight is pinned, right? The knight is pinned. Oh, he goes in with check. Let me go here. Okay, my mistake. All right, now he protects this, and we don't have time. We don't have time to bring this guy to add the pressure and pick up the pinned piece, right? So he worms his way out. That was the idea. He's trying to do it, but he doesn't have the time, so he gets away with it. Now, if you notice something, maybe that was the idea behind this move. Okay, let's see if it works now. Let's see if it works now. You get. Oh, he goes here, attacks your pawn there, so you're not really getting anything. You take here, and he takes with the rook. So there's no pin. There's no pin. If he took with this guy, well, now you could come. You load up on that knight, and he doesn't have this because you just recapture. There you go, and you recapture again with him, right? Knights can go back. So that was an idea maybe with b5, but he doesn't have enough time. See you get your strategic plan, and then you're using the tactics as best you can to carry it out, even if it means you're giving a pawn up over there. But he just takes. All right, he takes that way. So there you go. He's going to capture, right? He's going to capture this. Save time. White's doing fine now. He's fine. You didn't get anything out of this. So it's just, you just don't have enough, folks. You're a step behind. You can't really utilize the fact that the e3 pawn is weak. White can cover it. Shredder likes this now better. So anyway, that's just an idea, right? There's no point. So anyway, why do I bring up this line? Well, it was interesting. You know, after this, you got the in-between move of the queen to c3. Queen down to defend. You have to take back, and then he gets to slide it to c1. And, you know, the black queen's penetration goes nowhere. And if they swap, it's anybody's game, right? Could be a draw. So this is what happens in the game. Morphy just takes back right away, straight away, right? Knight recaptures, and get this, the queen goes back, right? Now Morphy ends up throwing the knight back in the outpost. Good square for the knight, but look at Shredder trying to come down anyway, attacking a3 again, but it transposes, folks. Queen to c1, right? Same thing. That's why I brought it up. Okay, that's why I brought it up, because it would transpose to everything we just looked at. So, after this, Horvitz goes down to d1, and Morphy figures out queen c3 goes nowhere. So he throws the knight to g4. Now the queen, Horvitz puts the queen on d2. Now there's not even a question of coming in, right? Okay, Morphy on the attack. Attacking the knight on g3, threatening a check on h2. All right, knight f1 protects both. Right, so now Morphy, rook to e8. Attacking, bearing down on that e-pawn. Okay, so what does Shredder think now? What does Shredder think to do now? Rook to e2, but, all right, we'll look at what Horvitz ends up playing g3, attacking the queen. All right, the queen comes up to h3, and now we got Shredder's thinking this right now. He's got control of the square, right? Might as well get it in. All right, there's a possibility. But here you got Horvitz playing b5. You know, taking control of the c6 square, keeping the bishop, the bishop's scope. Now he can't slide over here and attack that c4 pawn. All right, so anyway, let's see what transpires from here. Knight back, like Shredder finds. Morphy brings the knight back. Okay. Queen to g2. Horvitz wants to get the queens off the board. I guess he feels nervous. All right. But here they're saying, here it says, White has a difficult game owing to his weakness on the king file. But by exchanging queens, he enables Black to operate on the A file more effectively. Moroxy suggests pawn to e4. Now you're saying, wait a minute, does that throw the pawn away? Pawn takes, and he's got this in-between move. See, folks, he's only got 2 on e4 right now, and Black's defending, attacking with 2, and it looks impossible. See? Who controls this, right? We got the pawn, the knight, and the rook for Black. And you only got a rook and bishop. So by doing this, looks like you're throwing the pawn away. But he's got the in-between move, queen to d4, right? Attacking the knight on f6. All right, Black moves up to protect. And there you go. He can take, right? Now that bishop is actually pinned for the moment. Like you move the bishop back, trying to gain time to pile up on that guy, right? Because if he moves, folks, you notice, right? I don't know, you just move anywhere. You lose the rook. No way can this light square bishop move back to protect a rook on the dark squares, right? And the rook's undefended. So, by moving the bishop, all right, by moving the bishop, you're threatening to pile on the piece. But, if you notice, even if you pile up right now, he can take the bishop if it goes to f5 because you're attacking the queen. I win your rook. Well, he wins your queen, see? And the way I remember, queens are worth more than the rooks, right? So you can't do it now. So, we take back that silly move by White. Bishop back. No a4, but all right, he protects his rook. He's gonna probably get out of this, right? Maybe the rook up was better. I saw it do that before. Rook to e3. Maybe that's better. Well, it says in the evaluation it's even. So let's see. Oh, he sacks the exchange, folks. He sacks the exchange, really? All right, let's look at this. I didn't see this line. Okay, he takes back. I guess we're going to take back soon. What's going on? Yeah, if I take back now, it just goes into a queen with the minor piece, right? So it likes the queen to h1, attacking the rook. Rook goes back. And I know I'm doing this quick. I didn't see this line. I didn't prepare for this. So you put the bishop, strong bishop. I mean, you know, you got a bishop for the rook, but that bishop's strong on the light squares. King's vulnerable on the light squares. So, you know, maybe he could knock him out before it goes into the end game where black would be down the exchange. It would mean more. Knight up. Here you go. Here we go. Knight up to e4 check. All right. And what do we got? What do we got here? No squares. No squares. Let's see. He's running out of breathing room. Oh boy, look at how this bishop. Look at how the light squares are controlled by the queen and the bishop. Where's he going, folks? Where's he going with? You go get him with another check. He's going to have to go down to protect that. If he goes here, that's silly, right? Because, again, the light squares are weak. But okay, let's stick to. He's got to protect the rook, right, folks? He's got to protect that rook. If he abandons the rook, it's gone, right? It's toast. So he has to go here. All right, the queen comes in with a check. He goes up to block. And you just pile in on the pin piece, right? That's the theme. Pile up on the pin piece. So he moves over. Oh, look at this. Knight into the hole right here. And it's going to leap to d3, winning the exchange possibly. Here comes the queen. Going to try to counterattack. All right, queen here. He's going to get his check in and harass. He's going to harass the king. He's going to have to, because looks like he's going to get mated. Now, why not just keep checking like crazy? What happens here? Oh, he's going to slip right in. Okay, just being thorough here. Sometimes you can't see the obvious, folks, you know? Unbelievable. He slips into his little cubby hole. His new castle, right? He moved across town. He's got a bigger house now, beautiful, right? It's got a swimming pool and everything. He's safe. Safe as can be over there in the new house. All right, the new castle. So, on the check, he comes up. It goes nowhere. So what does he look to do? He just moves the king, right? Looks like we got so many options, right? We could win the exchange. We could just go for broke. All right. We go here. What if he takes our bishop? Do we even have him, folks? We could win the rook. All right, let's see. King can only go back, right? Here or there. I pick it up with check. Why not? Wait a minute. Why not here? Yeah, he's got a block. Because if he moves down, it's checkmate, folks. See that? All right. So I'll tell you what. When he comes back, we take him, right? And then we take him. And we got a knight up in the end game, right? Why try to be fancy? There you go, right? Forget the million moves evaluation of the engine. Just use your, your common sense. There you go. You're up a knight, right? Why try to be perfect? So anyway, there you go. Let's see. So what was he saying? After queen here, well, it doesn't work. We just looked at that. What was he saying to do? He likes the move we actually did. That's his best. All right. Anyway, folks, you see what happens, right? When he takes here, do you notice something, folks? What if you take back right now? I just want to show you something. What if you take back here? You see what happens to you? Checkmate. Right? All that work. Beautiful game by Black so far, and you just drop it on one slip up. See how this game works? Right? Unbelievable. I saw that. I figured I'd show you. Right? Yeah, Black likes this move the best. He takes here. I guess maybe, your opponent be hoping for that blunder. You go after the rook. You get to take it with check because there's no other squares. All right, we're just going over it again. It was pretty enough, wasn't it, folks? It was pretty enough. Here you go. You go there. And he wants to block. And there you go. You chop him off. Why go crazy? All right, there you go. All right, so let's go back. Right, beautiful stuff. You're down the exchange. That's something else. You sack the exchange at that point. Right here, you sack the exchange, but you got that bishop, which is strong on the light squares. Okay. You get the follow through. Look at that. He's giving it back even. Nope. Okay, he goes over there. Did we try that before? We tried the knight up. Whatever you try this, right? Okay, here comes the knight. All right, now you're in. Now you're really in. Let's see. If he goes to the other squares, look. Obviously, if he goes here, that's trouble. Right? You're going to win the queen, I think. There you go, right? Double check, folks. Double check. He goes there, and it's, is it going to be mate? Goes up. There you go. Beautiful, right? I saw this where you go like here, and you win the queen, You win the queen. Then again, isn't this crazy? Look. Checks. He goes there. Now you win the queen. And he doesn't even get your knight. Oh, boy. And look at that. Look at it. Look at the coordination. If you want to see an attack, look at that, folks. All right, you're going to take there. He can't even take back because then you're going to come in with mate, right? Which is the whole idea behind this move, to stop the mate one move. Right? Oh, boy. Look at how they carve him up. Okay, that's if he goes up, right? So they're saying to go down. Coordination of the pieces, folks. Doesn't matter about the material strength as much as the coordination. Who has the better coordination? Now you're gonna take that knight. Can the queen protect them like this, folks? What happens then? Your queen checks on F2, right? There you go. He steps over, and you win him anyway, right? You win him anyway. You could take here, maybe. Oh, then he takes your knight. So you save your knight. You attack the queen. He moves. All right, now you take with check. You take with check. He comes up. Oh, forget about it. It's just too much. It's too much, folks. Look at this. Oh my God, the black pieces are really dancing now. All right, there you go. Take your prize, right? Take your prize. What's he gonna do? It's all over, right? Minus 27. I think that's a good enough advantage. All right. What did we miss though? Was there something? You're going after the. All right. You're going after the knight. Okay. You don't move the queen there. All right, now you're going to win the, let's see, now the rook is protected by the white queen. Give the check. All right, you the check. Rook's going to take, but you're gonna fork those guys. Took me a while to see it. You got your exchange back. Now you're piling up. Let's see, if you even at this stage, folks, you could now trade down. You could threaten queen takes knight, queen takes queen, knight takes queen. Right? Let's just say he goes there, right? You take. Let me show it. You just trade down. Why? Because you got this guy, folks. He's gonna go in. That's your bread and butter. You play the game now. All right, here. You take the opposition, right? You take control with the king. There's nothing he can do, right? Keep going. What's he gonna do, right? You just look. You could go. Let him go after that guy, right? You eat him up. He takes, and there you go. Here comes your king, right? Here comes your king. I mean, here comes your new queen. Here comes your king. However you want to do it, right? All right. Now he's gonna force to go to h2, and you're gonna check. And he's going to go there, you're going to go there, you're going to go here, there, and everywhere. We got the queen and the game is over, right? All right, fine. You see how it works? Over there on the other side of the yard, the fence is fine. You got 4 black pawns to 4 white pawns, right? Nobody's getting through the fence. And you got your h-pawn as the winner, right? There you go. So this is what's being threatened. I just threw in a4 to show you. Okay, so we try some nonsense like this. All right, you take, he takes back. All right, and now it's a knight endgame, and still the same applies. They say king and pawn endgames, the knight and pawn endgames are the same as just king and pawn endgames. Same principles, right? You got the passed h-pawn. Right, now why not go there and you attack this guy, right? That does look like a move. He goes after him first. What if he goes after your pawn there? What's going on? If he takes here, you take there. He comes back. Could be tricky, you know, it could be tricky. Let's just leave it at that. Look, at this stage, right, goes in, you take, he takes, king up, I guess. All right, king up, goes after you. He likes whatever. It's a game now, right? Look at the evaluation box a little better. He is up a pawn. You're up a pawn, folks, and it's a outside pass pawn way over there on the H file. That knight might have to babysit. The white knight might have to babysit your H pawn, you know, and then your king could make its way, gobble up some of these other pawns on the white side, you know, on the queen side. All right, so it whittles down. Black seems to hold the edge, right? Where did this even come from? Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, here we go. Let's go back. All right, here we go. Knight back for Morphy. All right, knight back for Morphy. Harvard's book. Sorry, I dropped it here. Mouse slipped. Harvard's with queen at g2 to get the queens off the board. But Morphy suggests e4, and that's what we just looked at, folks. All that, okay? Not so easy, is it, for white? But hey, Morphy, if you're the grandmaster, right? The master, you find your way through the maze of variations, and you end up in that knight and pawn endgame. Who knows? Maybe you could hold it, right? So maybe the guy was correct, the great Morphy, right? So anyway, here's Harvard's, though. Throws the queen on g2. And there you go. Morphy takes. He trades, and now, let's see. Where does he go from here? Okay, he goes pawn. Right here. Make some room for that. Make some room for this bishop. Let's open this file up. Okay. Pawn to a4. They trade the pawns. There you go. Okay, and open H file. Bam. Morphy with the rook to the open file. A la Morphy, right? Okay, now it even says here, look at this, folks. This is interesting, too. They say right here, black could have sacked the knight. Pawn takes, bishop takes with check. King's going to move, right? King moves. Let's play it with Shredder. King moves to f2. And with the bishop coming to c4, see, in the notes it says, with knight takes pawn, black could have gained 3 pawns for his knight. So this is what they're talking about. This is the third pawn. On b5, he's going to pick it up. But look at this. If you follow a little further, yeah, you're going to win this one. But it appears like black's going to win that guy. All right, you throw in the check first for whatever reason. Okay, king moves, and now you take it now, right? All right, you take here. All right, now white could try to harass the rook. He comes up. He could harass him here. He could go back, and they just keep dancing, right? But black has a better move after this, and that would be to bring the bishop back. And you'll see after this, after the dance, right? He finally takes the exchange. So white wins the exchange. And the whole point of this in-between move of rook to c3, right, is to be able to attack the b pawn. Win that outside pass pawn, right? Because after this, how could black protect this? Right? There's nothing you can do. The bishop can't, he's on the light squares, right? He can't defend. He can't move it to safety. There you go, right? Now, watch this. This is the whole point of rook c3, because if they take here, and now he takes, now the bishop covers c6 or b7. He can't attack the b pawn. Well, he could go after this one, right? All right. And if you save this one, now you block the bishop's scope, and he could attack the outside pass pawn, and he wins this guy, right? So it's a trade-off. Do you want to lose your b pawn or your d pawn? And I think the engine, you know, if it had its choice, see this? It pushes this guy, right? Which tells me the outside passer is more valuable. Now if he tries to attack it, it's on the light squares. You can move your bishop into place to defend. But white eliminates this option by playing here, and you force this guy back. Then you take, he takes, and you see? Now he wins the b pawn. All right? Understand? So, all right, they're saying king up, he takes here. Now, folks, this is crazy because I think white still has enough to pull this out. The evaluation is showing that white's winning. He's up the exchange for a pawn, right? So white's winning. But it's interesting because here's an example. Let's follow it. He gives up that pawn to be able to push this, right? He gets that into place. And now the king has to be careful because black can't, the white king, he might have to babysit what he'd like to do. All right, we could let's think of black's options, right? You're black, you're losing. You want to just dance around with this bishop. You want to just move it in here all day long to the ends of time, right? Go ahead, prove it. Prove it to me that you're going to win with the exchange, right? So what happens is you would think eventually, hypothetical, right? The white king maybe works his way to this weak, you know, the pawn in the back base of the chain. And then when the bishop pulls back to e4 to defend, he'll get his rook, let's say, to f6, and then he'll sack on f5, and he'll give the exchange back, but he'll win a pawn in the process, and then he could win the end game up a pawn, right? That's the idea, the basic strategy, right? But see now, you see these maneuvers that let me go back, because maybe we don't want the rook. We don't want the rook coming to h6, right? Okay, you advance, right? All right, he's going to come around the back door, I guess. He's going to come around the back door. There you go. Okay. So anyway, we want to keep. Well, I was thinking the white king would have to stay on the king side to stop the creation of a passed pawn, which is why Shredder moved the rook over there. Because what would happen was, I was going to advance this guy up and then force the white's G pawn to take, but then I got to pass G pawn myself, right? For instance, just to be dumb, let's just do it anyway. Let's just give him useless moves, right? He takes here. Now I got to pass this guy, right? I got to pass G pawn. This would keep white from bringing the king up and harassing me and doing the other plan of taking on f5, for instance, right? And winning a pawn, giving back the exchange and winning a pawn. But all right, he's trying to bring the rook down, right? He brings the rook over here instead to put pressure. Now I can't really push. I can't push the h pawn up and try to trade it and create a passed pawn for myself. So I can't even get it out. But I would think, all right, now he's moving the king up here. But now we have the tempos of the bishop, right? All right, he's on f5. But now the rook's babysitting the h pawn, remember? Okay? So if it's making sense, you got two different ideas that you're defending against. White's trying to destroy your f pawn, f5, with giving back the exchange, right? Right now, he can't do it because the rook's out of play. And if the rook was to come into play again, there you go. You're going to create a passed G pawn, see? All right, he goes over there. He goes down. We can't take on G3 because the king comes up and we're toast. Here he is, see? Mate threat. Nothing you can do, folks. How do you stop mate now? You can't. You can't, see? You can't stop mate. All right? You can't go up because your own pawn on G3 keeps you in, right? So you can't even take. Okay, so you come out. All right, now he takes. Now if you go here, he checks you and he wins. He wins it, right? He wins it. And then you go here, but now it's coming, folks. Now comes the sack. See? There goes the sack. What are you going to try to keep him now? I mean, come on, you got nothing left. Now he's got 2 pawns. So this won't work. But there's the example of what I've been trying to say, right? He gets to take. All right, you come off. You don't let the rook check you from behind. Now you can advance, right? Now you can advance. You're about to queen. All right, you're about to queen. Now they're saying to queen. Really? Yeah, you can't do that. That's the only thing you got left. Maybe he's going to try to mate you here in the corner. I don't know. I guess you are busted. You got nothing else, right? All right, you get him. Here goes the check. He comes up. There it is. It's all over. He does it again. See? He does it again. Confounded. But these were the two defensive ideas. You're trying to hang on. I guess with the proper technique, white could force the issue. What if you just don't ever push, right? Comes in. Let's see how far it went. The rook, right? You pushed. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you keep doing this, right? No, then you're going to lose. You can't go to protect this guy. You can go not here, here, only there, right? All right, he checks. He's going to attack the pawn with rook to b5, I would think, right? Let me just make sure. Oh, he goes after the h pawn. Oh, boy. Okay. So it's worth pushing now. He checks. You go up. He takes. Can't go up or he mates you, right? Can't do that. Maybe you push. He goes after him. Can't even defend him. Oh, it's helpless, folks. You can't do it. All right. You can't do it. So, black is busted. All right. I don't know if this might be a slightly better way. Maybe black can hang on. I don't know. It looks to me like he can't. So there's one possibility, with one way it could go, right? So again on this, right? This is all stemming from this hypothetical, folks, right here. Knight takes, and then you get 3 pawns for the knight. But white's going to win back your C. See, once he wins that C pawn, oh, it's crucial, because that's the one protecting the other two guys, right? So now the D6 pawn and the B6 pawn become very weak. They're isolated. Now, if you could play like we just did, go after you, and he goes this way, and then you do that, right? And here we go again. Now, if he was to take, if he was to just flat out, let's see, he comes down here, you go up, and now let's say he takes, right? And then you take this one. He goes after you, and you defend the D6 pawn, I guess, because you can't defend this one, right, folks? What happens to you? All right. So you defend this guy. He goes after that one, and he's dead, right? The B pawn's dead. You could try harassing. You go after this guy. All right, now he's not dead, because you get the checks. You maneuvered the rook to a dark square. Now he's on B2, and you're protecting the B pawn. All right, fine. But now it looks like this guy's going to die. Maybe not. You hold him. I don't know. Look at this. You go, I don't even know why. You go up here like this? Really? Folks, can't he just take? Can't you just take? Right? Now, how's... Let's see if it's possible, right? Here's the idea again. Let's see if we got it. If we could force those 2 pawns off the board, we could get the 2 white pawns to swap with our pawns. It's a draw. He can't mate us with just the bishop, right? So let's see how this works. If I go like this, no way is he going to take here, because now, I mean, he's down to 1, and he cannot take. He might still be able to pull this off. He doesn't want to trade that pawn, so that's the whole issue. But let's go back. He doesn't even have to take, right? Now, if we take, he takes back. And now, what pawn are we going to trade with that one? Folks, what pawn are we going to trade with the F pawn? We don't have any pawns we could trade with that guy. So that's senseless, right? So in this position, it means we got to push the H pawn up to attack the G3 pawn, right? So I don't know. We go here. All right. Now our F5 pawn's going to die. It really looks hopeless, right? They're giving us, this is the best we can do, and at that point, we're going to lose the F pawn. We got these two passed pawns, but they don't have time, folks. Look, they can't make it. It's helpless. It's all over, right? The king kills that one. The bishop watches our B pawn, and that's it, right? We come in. Let's try to kill that. Let's try to kill that F pawn. Right? Let's try to kill it. All right, we're gonna march him. He takes this guy. We're gonna march. Here he goes. He pulls back to stop him on B3. All right, we let him have it so we can get here. One step away, folks. Boom, there it is. You're lost. You can't get him. Doesn't matter. He's got the bishop, folks. Look, he kills it, burns the tempo. All right, we go here. He takes the initiative, right? I go back. Here he goes. He could go here, right? All right, doesn't matter. He pushes. Look, folks, the bishop and the pawn itself. Look, I can't go here, here, here. Can't go there. I only got one square. What's going on here? Look at this. Get out of here. Look. King down. There it is. It's all over. He gets it in, right? All right. So anyway, is it 100%? I don't know, folks. I don't know. Maybe black has better. Maybe white has better. I don't, you know, it just shows you what could happen. I don't think this line, okay, everything we looked at, it's not as good for black as it may seem at first, right? You take, ooh, you're going to win the 3 pawns. No, folks, he wins your C pawn. And basically, that's it, you know. When he wins that one, the other 2 become weak. You end up dropping them, okay? And you're basically just, you're down a piece for nothing, you know? You're down a piece for nothing. Here goes the other line again, right? You take, all right. C pawn's gone, right? All right, so anyway, so you really, at this stage after this, and he takes, you basically gave up, right? You gave up the, you gave up the piece, and now you got an extra pawn for it, but remember, you also gave up the exchange, so you really didn't get anything out of it. This is busted. This is busted. You don't want to do this. You could be tempted in some of these games. Sometimes when you get 3 pawns for the minor piece, it's good, but if you could have kept these 3 pawns, for instance, he just, I don't know, he moves the king. Let's just make a dumb move. He goes here, and you get off, and you got the 3. If you got these 3 pawns, right, your D6, C7, and B6 pawns, that might have been worth it. That might have been worth it. And hey, maybe even win the E pawn, who knows, right? But that would have been, this would be more of a battle. But the minute he plays this, and then he wins, you know, he wins that C pawn, you know, maybe this too, right? This move is to position the bishop on this, sort of harass the rook. And if the king was to be dumb enough to come up even, right, you take him with check now, right? So it gets him to be forced in the corner. Maybe if he goes over here, well, now when he takes, right, now your H pawn is in trouble, right? So, all right. Anyway, it doesn't really look like it's worth it, right? So, after they trade here, and now the A file is open, like we said, Morphy quick to grab the A file, the open A file with the rook, natural move, right? So, now we got knight comes to D2, okay, and we got the rook coming to attacking that. Let's see, make sure this is right. Rook coming down, attacking the E pawn. Okay, he pushes him up. All right, black takes. All right, now we got the knight taken, and now they swap the knights right here on E4. But we got bishop takes by Harvitz. Bishop takes. All right, now you see Schroeder went for it too. He liked rook takes. Let's see if an engine switches it back. There you go. He likes rook takes. And the old masters give the notes. Rook takes knight was much better. If then, rook to B3, attacking the bishop, right? It's attacking the bishop. Well, you come down, you give the check. King attacks the rook, and they give, now get this, they give rook to B8, and they say that white's okay. But look at what happens. You get to win a pawn. You sack it because it's check, folks. It's check. Look, right? It's check. He's got to take. Now you take the bishop, and look at this, folks. Now he's got to maneuver because he went after the bishop. Now he's got to come after your pawn. All right, so now, look, you want to see this is something key right here. Do you want to go pawn for pawn? Look, you could even win two of them. Oh wait, it's check. All right, you don't even win two, and then he eats you up over here. All right, you eat him up over there, and then he's going after you there, and you could push this one maybe. I don't know, but the point is, why do that? Go pawn for pawn. Why do that when you can see Shredder? Just defend. Just defend the base of the pawns there, the C7 pawn, right? And now when the king comes up, like here, you get to keep your extra pawn, and the white rook doesn't have as much play yet, right? So that could mean all the difference in these end games. It's unbelievable. But okay, there you go. This gives a slight edge to black. You could see he's up a pawn, and that's pretty much the evaluation, right? I don't know. It could be drawish. These things, these rook and pawn end games are tough. All right, but anyway, so that's one line they give. But look at what Shredder does. Here's the line again. Once they swap, once they start trading on E4, they recommend Harvitz takes with the bishop, but Shredder and the old masters recommend that the rook takes, and then again you go after the bishop. He comes down with check. You come up and you don't go after the bishop because of what we just looked at. See, he goes there, you protect, right? Okay. They say, look at this, Shredder's saying go here, right? All right, you take, right? He gives the check. You go up. Maybe you want to protect the H pawn. I don't know. He says to go up. You win the C pawn, and now look, folks. Where's the bishop gonna go? Right? Where's the bishop gonna go? They're even saying to sack it now. Look, he can't go here. He can't go there. He can only go here, right? And now he's gonna win this pawn. And what if he came here? Would that make sense? Then he would be forced to take, and then he's going to take there, and then he's going to take here and there, and it's pretty much like before, right? Kind of looks like before. And instead, you go here, he goes there. And you don't want to try to save your H pawn because then he comes in here and forks your pawns. And you take, and he's going to take with check, right? And again, folks, this is crazy. This is, I don't know, I'd say a draw. You got two active rooks eating up pawns. I mean, it's going to be nothing left. So that's amazing, though. You don't go for the bishop straight away. After this, you don't go for the bishop straight away. You go here. Now, if you go back to protect the H pawn, he takes here. And now, if you go down this way, you get checked and you lose the guy, right? Got to watch those double attacks. So really, at this point, there's nothing you can do. It's to take there. There you go, right? He takes back, you take. He goes after your D6 pawn. All right, so now he gets the B pawn. All right, so there you go. It's, black ends up a pawn up here, but it's tough. I don't know. I'd say it's a draw. So watch this. The other thing they recommend after all this, right? They say if rook takes. All right. So now they say if king to F7 to prevent the rook to coming down the E file in the first place. Well, now they're just saying king over to F2 gives the best chance of a draw. All right. So there you have it, right? Who knows? That's how it could have went. But that's not how it did go because Harvitz took with the bishop. All right, now he attacked that pawn on C4, which didn't necessarily have to become a weakness in this game, right, folks? Right? Is that what? Let's see. Where was that little note? After move 22, folks, it said pawn to b4 leaves c4 pawn weak, as in the third game, but the latter weakness need not have been pronounced in the present game. Well, here it is. Now he's going after c4, picking on the little c4 pawn. Poor little guy, right? So, folks, so what do we have? Harvitz pulls the bishop back to f3. Why, folks? Well, here you go. King up is Morphy's move. Okay, why? Why? Because the bishop moving back. Can he take this pawn now? No, because down comes the rook. All right, you go after him, big deal. Here you go. Look, folks, and where does the bishop go? The bishop's toast. He's dead, folks. He can't go here. He can't go back. He can't go here. He can't even take because you got this guy. Look at this. Then forget about it, folks. Now it's all over, right? Maybe that's why the engine likes, right here, they like king to g7. All right, who knows why? But either way, after this, you can't. You're just gonna have to sack it. You're gonna have to sack it for at least a pawn, right? Heck, for the when the king comes here, you can't even sack. You can't even sack it. Now look, you get something like this going. All right, you attack the king. The king comes up. Now you go after the bishop. So if he takes you, you take him, right? But come on, folks. All white has to do is pull it back. Now the king defends it once again. There's no checks. The bishop on g2 is fine. And there you go. You're going to lose your bishop on b7. All right. What are you going to do? There you go. All right. So, let's see now. You can't jump the gun. You got to be careful. Every move could be a trap. Look, so you bring the king up. Now the rook can't come down to check you. All right, so now what does he do? Let's see. Let me make sure I get this right. The king goes to f7. Okay? All right, rook. He brings the rook here. Rook to e4, protecting the c4 pawn. You got the bishop now, folks. The bishop coming out. All right, it's not doing any good here now. He's trapped. He's entombed, right? He's got to get out of there. Bishop to c8. Now he's on this nice diagonal. Okay, he pulls the bishop back to e2 to protect the c4 pawn, I guess. Now then the rook can move around. All right, I don't know. So now he attacks the rook. The rook goes to right here. The pawn comes up. Okay. Pawn to h5. King over. King up. Rook to d2. Okay, now look at this. The bishop looks to me like he's going to go here and here, right? Be 2 on it. Goes there. You got the king coming down to e1. All right, now you can go there like Shredder's saying. You can't take over here. You notice White's last move abandoned the g3 pawn, but he can't take here because of his bishop's hanging then, right? All right, just pointing out the obvious. So he can move the bishop here, move it here, but you know what? Morphy ends up coming here. All right, and then the king goes back because now the g pawn is hanging, right? So he's got to go back. And now here comes the black king. He's coming up into the position. The king is an attacking piece in the endgame. All right, Harvitz feels he has to come down and try to go on the offense. All right, here we go. Look at this. Pawn up. Pawn takes. King takes f4. Rook comes down, trying to attack Attack C7. Alright, here we go. Look at this. Now the black rook is looking to take their pawn on H4. Alright, rook takes pawn. Here we go. No, he's not going for this. He's going for check, folks. He's going for the king. Look at this now. King down, and now you got the black king coming up. Look at this. All of a sudden, it's a mating net, folks. He's got him on the back rank. He could block with the bishop, but look, here we go. He brings the rook back over there, right? I mean, now the bishop's dead. The bishop's dead. Look, he's... Where's he going to go? What's he going to do? If he moves, right? I mean, he can't move. All right. If he comes off the diagonal, I don't know, there, right? It's mate, folks. It's mate, right? Back rank mate. All right, so the only other thing is, what if he blocks, he moves, so he doesn't lose this guy, he puts him here to stop the mate, right? Well, now you come down on the other side, right? Now you're going to play rook to A3 mate. And what's he going to do? Folks, he can't, the king can't even try to get out. It's not only the black king boxing him in, right? Controlling these key squares, F2, E2, D2. The bishop also is covering this. Look, this and this. He can't even run out of there. It's a massive back rank mate. See this? The king and bishop take over all these squares. Look, they take over G2, F2, E2, D2, C2. You see that? He can't even make a run for it. He comes down. The white king can't even step to C2. It's all over, folks. It's all over. While you think he's going after, right, pawn for pawn, he's going to, oh, I'm going to take this one, you take that one. No! Here comes the check, right? What if he goes here? What if he goes after him? Look, king up. And now we're threatening rook to H1, mate, with the support of the bishop on E4, folks. Again, he can't get out. He can't get it. There's no checks. Where's the rook going to check? He can't do it. Then you do something like that. You just throw in the piece. You look. Here you go. See? Beautiful, right, folks? So, when he goes here, what if he just goes there? It's all the same, right? Look. Rook to H1 is going to be mate. Nothing you can do. He can't get out at this point. It's too late. It's too late. Oh, look, that gives him a check. So, when you take this way, I guess he could check here too, right? Well, either way, he goes back. Look, now there's nowhere to go anyway. King can't go here, folks. Remember, the bishop protects the rook, supports the rook in the corner. If he goes this way, all right, look, you come down, and then he can block with his rook. So what do? Once he steps this way, well, now you go mate him on the other side, see? Because his rook can't block over here now. He can only go down. Well, he throws a spiteful check. You take that guy. There you go. Right? So, let's see where it plays out. Is there any more to this game? I mean, he goes there with the check, right? And then the king comes up. And there you have it. White resigns right there. I mean, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. Well, boom. He moves over. You go for the mate. Again, folks, the mate. Bishop support. Rook's got to come down to stop it, right? And then you can, let's see. All right. You could switch sides, right? Or then he could get out. Okay. For instance, if I go there, he steps up. You go here to check. He comes up, and then you could just swap them off, right? Why go crazy? Let's see if it's a little better though. Since we got this far, right? Let's see the technique. He wants to throw the check first. You block with the bishop. All right, now he goes down. You swing him over there. He goes this way. Oh, big deal. You take the pawn, really? You're going after pawns at this point. Just go like this. Look, he comes up. There you go. He takes, you win this one, right? You gobble the other guys up. There you go. You just watch him right in, look. Can't let him pass. Alright, we're just having a little fun here. There you go. Get out of here, you. Bishop's going to cover the square, D1. Right, he walks right in. Good night. Give me my queen. Right, box him out. You're going to go there. Here you go. Check. You're going to go there. Bring the king up. Let's just not get him in stalemate, right, folks? He's got A1. He's got A1. There he goes. Good night. Right? Or you want it this way? Okay, Shredder. There you go. Beautiful! Beautiful game! All right, so Morphy takes game 5. He's now up 3-2. He's up 3-2, folks, and we got the 6th match game coming up. You got to stay tuned. It's going to be game number 46 in the book. All right. I hope you join us for the next episode of Morphy's Games of Chess. Till then, take care.